It's Battle of the Helleses.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. Yeah, I've got a shitty Ringwood t-shirt on, so what? Yes, I know they're owned by Marston's, yes. If you want to get further away from Marston's, then look no further. This is in my opinion, two of the best lagers in the world. Now, Augustiner has been my favourite for some time. In fact, ever since I tried it, about 2 or 3 years ago, I think that was the first time I tried it. There was a little bar not too far from where I worked called St Georgen, believe it or not, that is actually true. And they used to stock this, and it just blew me away. And then I reviewed it on the channel, and yeah, you just get the picture. It's the best beer, or the best lager in the world. Forget what Carlsberg says. Remember that tagline they used to have, probably the best lager in the world? It's this stuff. But the other day, I tried some of the St GeorgenBräu Helles, and it absolutely blew me away. And I seriously questioned whether Augustiner should have the crown of best Helles in the world. And I vowed then that I would do a shootout, and I managed to track both of these down in House of Trembling Madness. I got quite a lot of feedback from that last review of this St GeorgenBräu. And a lot of people said they were having trouble trying to find it. You can get it at beer Sniffers online. The House of Trembling Madness do it, which is where I got this from, and the Augustiner. And there's a couple of other British or UK suppliers that do it. I'm sure this is abundant in Germany, although having spoke to a German mate, he's never seen it before. So it's brewed on a smaller scale, certainly a smaller scale to the Augustiner. This is more or less available all over Germany. This stuff isn't, but it's a crime that it isn't, because for me it just blew me away. Now I'm really hoping it wasn't just a flash in the pan and it caught me unawares, and sometimes you get bowled over by a beer that you try again and think, well, yeah, was it that good? I'm really hoping it's not one of them beers. This will be the definitive, in my opinion anyway, which can hold the title of the best Helles so far that I have tasted. Now, a little bit about the breweries. I've told you a little bit about the St GeorgenBräu. If you want a little bit more in-depth history on that, go on to that brewery. Needless to say, this family have been brewing beer since 1624, so it's quite an ongoing concern. They're based in a place called Buttenheim, which is in between sort of Bamberg and Nuremberg. It's a tiny little village from what I can gather. And of course, Augustiner, they've been going since 1328. They are based in Munich. They are known as one of the Munich Six, who sell beer at the Munich Beer Festival, or Oktoberfest as it's known. Their reputation precedes them. Every beer I've tasted from this lot has been absolutely fantastic. They're a big brewer. They're not macro brewers, but they brew on quite a large scale. Their beer is available all over Europe, as far as I know. And I think, I could be mistaken, but I think you can get this in the United States as well. And for me, it is at the moment the best lager in the world. But we're going to find out which one is the best, because, as I say, when I tried this, I thought, well, Augustiner have got some competition. And it's so close that I need to do a shootout. So here I am. So let's shut up and let's compare these beers. Right, I'm getting excited now. That's how fucking sad my life is. Right, these are both Bavarian Helles. They have different ABVs. This one is 5.2%. I lied to you, the Augustiner is 5.2. The St GeorgenBräu is slightly lower at 4.6. They are both 500ml bottles. They are both Helles, and this one is brewed on a much bigger scale, as I said. This one is a family-owned brewer, as this is partially family owned as well, but this is a family owned brewer, and they've got a lot in common. The region they're from, the ingredients I imagine are pretty similar. They're both using hops from the Hallertau region, as is common in, I would say, almost all German brew, well, not so much German brewers, but Bavarian brewers certainly would use hops from the Hallertau region. There's no brew sheet on either of these, but you get the picture. It's good quality ingredients. You can see on the Augustiner it's got the EU location stamp, which means it is a genuine Münchner beer. That, not just a Bavarian beer, but from Munich, which means it's one of the big six. The others of course being Löwenbräu, Hacker-Schorr, Augustiner being one, Spartan, Hofbrau and Paulaner. So there you go, now you know. Let's get it open and let's see what's going on with these two. I am getting very excited indeed, because I know these are two great beers. Now this is just come out the fridge, a pair of them. I got them today, couldn't wait. So they've been in the fridge for a couple of hours. They are the respective caps, the Augustiner and the St GeorgenBräu. I like the St GeorgenBräu one. It's got a, if you can get a close up of that, come on autofocus, you fucking shithouse. It's got St Georgen the Dragon on there, very artistic indeed. And of course the Augustiner makes a big thing about the Reinheitsgebot. You know my views on the Reinheitsgebot. Pure marketing, doesn't really mean much. Certainly not when it comes to export beer. Now, I've got a Hofbrau glass, so I'm going to put the Augustiner into the Hofbrau glass, because I don't have an Augustiner glass, and I think it's fitting that this goes into a glass from a brewer from Munich. I'll let that one settle down. You can smell it from here. It smells absolutely gorgeous. And now we have the pretender to the throne, going into a filthy glass. You shithouse. It's these tablets. I'm going to go shopping later, or tomorrow. I'm going to have to get some half decent dishwasher tablets, because the ones we've got at the moment are absolute pony. Got from Lidl's. We're having a bit of an economy drive, so shopping at Lidl's. There's the two beers. This is the St GeorgenBräu, darker. Augustiner, much lighter. This has got a slight amber hue to it. This is very light indeed, which would explain the last time I tried this I had quite a roasted malt type flavour and aroma as well. What we're getting on the nose from the Augustiner. Lovely. That liquid bread, the almost toast-like flavour. Lots of hop character on this. You can really get that coming through now. And the lemon on top of it. But there's a fair amount of all three. It smells lovely, it smells divine. What are we getting on this? Oh, now this is where it comes into its own. You can tell by the character. It's slightly darker. It's slightly darker because the malts, I think, well, I'm more or less certain, have been slightly roasted, or have been roasted longer than the ones that have gone into the Augustiner. Oh my good God, I could sit here sniffing this all day. It smells really nice. It's all about the malt though. You haven't got the hop character that you get on the Augustiner. This is sharper, more herbal, more lemon citrus. This is much more malty, roasted malt. And that clean, what I perceive to be a clean smell, if you know what I mean, like clean water. But there's a lot of that, almost caramel malt coming through. It's a mixture between that liquid bread that is Bavaria is known for, and the caramel. Oh, they both smell good, and I am in for a treat, I can tell you. And for all the shit beers that I've had, I know I am not going to have a bad one between these two. Now, in my opinion, others may knock me down and say I'm wrong, and believe me, there are some good Helles's out there. Hacker-Schorr, really are up there as well. Paulana too. But for me, these two are top of the tops. So let's get them filled out. That's got a bit of a head on it, which isn't too bad. But there they are. And again, I just want to reiterate the colour difference. You can see that this has got a slightly darker hue to it, and that's reflected in the flavour. There's much more of the roasted malt in this one, on the aroma I'm talking about now, and in this one you've got much more hop character. So without further ado, let's taste them. Prost, as they say in Germany. Augustiner first. Oh, wow. It's even better than I remember it now. I haven't had Augustiner in a while. I've been trying to cut back on me drinking lately. The old blood pressure has been going up a little bit, so I've been curtailing it. I've just been having one or two of an evening. Some evenings I haven't. But I haven't had this in a while. And I'm just reminded of how bloody good this is. This is amazing. That's lovely. It's liquid bread, almost, you know, Jacob's cream cracker. If you can imagine a sweet Jacob's cream cracker, it's like that. Supremely drinkable, lots of flavour. This is just the right temperature. Been in the fridge for a couple of hours, come out nice and cold. Huge flavours on that. And again, I'm reminded of why I consider this to be the best, or did so, until this little fella come along. I'm going to dive into this one. Prost, as they say in Germany. Oh my good God. That is, oh, this is going to be really difficult. That's lovely. Again, all the same qualities as that's got, but there's just a little bit more of the roasted malt character on there. But the finish is what does it for me with this. It just goes on and on and on, and I'm still tasting it now. Two very similar beers in their style, but two beers that taste very different. And believe me, this is going to be tough, because I am having problems immediately discerning which one is best. Wow, that is just so drinkable though. It's not got the finish of the St GeorgenBräu. Now don't get me wrong, there is a definite finish on this, but it just doesn't linger as long as the other stuff. Again, I'm going to dive into this. Oh, this is so tough. It really is. And I'm really hoping that you can track this down. I've given you a few sites as to where to get it. I may even put a link in the description to both beers, and I'd like for you to try them as well. If you, I mean, that's if you're really into your lager and you're trying to find out which is the best one. For me, this is exceptionally tough. It depends what you want to go for. If you want sheer drinkability, top quality ingredients, then the Augustiner. If you want flavour, then go for this. Now, I've been on a bit of a mission to promote, not that I'm sponsored in any way and not that it needs promoting, but I always compare anyone who's going to do or call a beer a Helles. I compare it with this. This is the best of the best, and how it ranks against this. And testimony to that, I have actually done a little bit of an experiment on a couple of mates that have come round, a couple of social calls. One of my mates, he's He's a singer in a band. He came round, he was passing through. He said he'd drop in for a beer. I just happened to put a beer down. He knows I like my beers and all that, and I didn't give him the bottle or nothing. I just put the beer down, and we're having a chin wag, catching up. And he's taken a few mouthfuls, and he just went, "God, what's this? This is absolutely lovely." And I told him what it was. Now he's a convert, and I've tried a couple of other people, and they always remark on the beer. And they don't do that when I buy stuff from the shop over the road. You know, even if it's ales or whatever, they'll just drink it, not pass comment most of the time. Guaranteed, whenever I buy this, and I used to buy quite a lot of them in, and I'd give them to a couple of mates, we'd be chatting away. I'd never say anything to them, and almost always guaranteed they would comment on the beer, how good it is. It's that type of beer. It really is good, and I cannot fault it. It's what every lager brewer should be aiming to mimic, or in the case of St GeorgenBräu, do one better on it. And I think if you don't, then I don't know, maybe it's just me being a beer snob, but you're a poor imitation. Now don't get me wrong, I like various twists on it. For example, the Yorkshire lager, believe it or not, that was really good. A little bit like this, but it had English hops in it, and it gave it a unique character. And someone made a very pertinent comment to me once about on the channel, a subscriber, and I was saying, why can't the English do a good lager? And there's a couple that do. The Sam Smith's organic lager, very good indeed, really good in fact. And you've also got the C84 Brewery, or the Great Yorkshire Brewery, who do the Yorkshire lager, and that's really good as well. But aside from that, I really haven't come across a good one. And as I said, a subscriber made a very pertinent comment and said to me that the reason we can't do it is because of the water, because we don't get that pure spring water that you do, I should say, in Bavaria. Certainly in the around the mountainous regions of Bavaria, and where there is artesian wells, because water does make a big difference, believe it or not, to beer. You've all heard about the Burton water. That's seasoned because it's got certain chemicals, and it's got quite a high sulphur content in it, and that what is known as seasoning the beer, it does that. It gives it a unique flavour. And I'm sure it's the same with lager. The purer the water, the better the lager. Now, this stuff for me is the best. I don't need to reiterate that, but I'll tell you something, this lot, they're coming a very, very close second. If not, they're going to top them. It's just that the malt character on this, it's got the perfect balance of drinkability and flavour, whereas this has just got everything. It's got a lighter mouthfeel, I will say that, so it is slightly more drinkable than this, but for flavour, and if you're a big fan of malt character on beer, then you won't go wrong with this. I defy anyone who likes beer to dislike these two lagers. I think if you do, I mean, I know taste is subjective and all that, but if you don't like these two lagers, then, well, I would seriously question your taste, and I would seriously question whether you're doing it just to be contrary, because to me this is the pinnacle of German brewing, certainly German lager brewing anyway. I don't think you're going to get better than these two. Which one is the best? Oh, it's a tough one. It really is. Now, it's rare that I say that when I put a beer up against Augustiner, or certainly a Helles up against the Augustiner Helles, because I've done that with the Hacker-Shaw stuff, I've done it with the Löwenbräu, I've done it with the Spartan, and I've done it with the Paulaner as well, and the Hofbrau. And to be honest, I don't think any of them top the Augustiner. I would say over a year, and I've tried a hell of a lot. You only have to look on the channel and just type in Helles and you'll see all the Bavarian Helles's and all the German Helles's are brewed, not just from Bavaria. None of them have come close to this, apart from this stuff. And it's a real tough one for me. This has got stuff going for it that this hasn't. And this has got stuff going for it that this hasn't. And I'm really, really struggling. In a way, this is slightly reminding me of Warsteiner. It's got some of the characteristics. Now, you can all slag off Warsteiner and say, certain Germans will, especially, they'll say Warsteiner is, it's a macro brewed German lager. Over here, compared to some lagers, it is not bad. There's a nice malt character on Warsteiner. I do like it. I had a shootout with Kronbacher, which again, a lot of Germans are going to say, oh, you shouldn't be doing that, because Kronbacher, again, is probably one of the best-selling beers in Germany. I think Kronbacher and Beck's, and what was the other one? Kronbacher, Beck's, there's one other. But they're the two biggest ones. Bitburger, that's it. They're the sort of three biggest ones, and they're all fantastic beers. Don't get me wrong, they're really good. But I'm dithering on whether to say which one is the best, and I can't. I really cannot separate the two. I'll dive into this one. This is slightly sweeter, slightly maltier. Oh, this is so tough. It really is tough. And if I said it's going to be a tie, then I think that's a real cop-out. But I really have to say, all things considered, and literally by a gnat's chuff, which is a well-known British measurement, I still think Augustiner is the top. But this stuff is, I'm going to say it's equal. On another day, I probably would have chosen this. So for me, in future, I am going to say there's not one, there's two, because this is doing everything right. But it's so long since I've visited Augustiner, and I'm just again reminded at how good this beer is. It's got everything going for it. It's got the flavour, it's got the drinkability, the lovely light mouthfeel, and just the refreshing flavour that's on this. But this stuff has got flavour in abundance for a lager. I don't think you're going to beat it. It's, again, and I said it on the last one, it's bordering on the dunkel style of beer. You know how you get them sweet roasted caramel malts that you get on a dunkel. Lots of that in here as well. Not quite as intense as a dunkel, but you do get elements of that, which makes it so moorish. And I know I've given it to Augustiner, but I'm going to do it today. Yes, it's Augustiner today, but if I did this tomorrow, then I probably would give it to this. So, in my opinion, my personal opinion, I'm going to say this is a tie, but today, Augustiner shade it by 1 millimetre, or a gnat's chuff, which is even shorter than a millimetre. It's fantastic stuff though. Both of them are. Both of them. This is the pinnacle for me of bottom fermented lagers. I don't think any other country is going to brew anything better than that. I really don't. Certainly not the UK. Certainly not America. I don't care which craft brewer you are. You're not going to beat these for sheer drinkability, flavour, balance, in quality of ingredients, but most of all, brewing know-how. The two of them have got them in spades, and again, you won't go wrong with either of these. You'll be safe in the knowledge, in my opinion, of telling people, whether you're drinking the Augustiner or the St GeorgenBräu, this really is the best lager in the world. So what is the verdict on these two? Well, for me, this is as good as it gets, basically. You're not going to get better. I really will be surprised. And I would love to be surprised. It's not that I'm declaring I will never taste a better lager. I'm hoping I will taste a better lager. And the reason I'm hoping, or Helles, if you want to call it Helles, the reason I am hoping is because if I can taste better than this, then it is going to absolutely blow my mind, and I will probably give up beer reviewing and just drink myself into oblivion. Probably not. But they're both fantastic beers. They really are. And I'll give you, I did want to make this point clear, but I decided to leave it till the end. This is the bill from the House of Trembling Madness. The St GeorgenBräu was $2.55, cheaper than Hofbrau from Morrison's, which is $2.60, and the Augustiner is $2.99. So there's a little bit more involved money-wise if you want to get the Augustiner, but if you're a little bit skint, get the St GeorgenBräu. It will be a different experience for you, but you will not feel you have wasted your money at all. Oh, fucking hell. And it's a shame that this St GeorgenBräu is hard to get hold of. Oh. Honestly, this is beer heaven. I know I sound like a broken record, and this review has gone on so long, but I cannot emphasise how good these two beers are. And yes, Augustiner, it's more or less a given that this is the best lager, and for a good reason as well, because you could argue that in fact it is. But this young upstart of 3 centuries later than this lot, in my opinion, is a very close second. If you want sheer drinkability, if you want a thirst quencher, if you want refreshing and you want flavour, this is the one to go for. If you want intense flavour from a lager, I mean, you've got to remember how much flavour you can get from a lager, then this is the one. Slightly cheaper, but wow, what a beer this is. And a worthy contender for best lager in the world. The pair of them are, in my opinion, the best. You won't get better than these two. Oh, naturally, it goes without saying, both are 10 out of 10. And if there is a German subscriber out there who thinks there is a better beer than these two, or better lager than these two, please, please, please let me know. Because deep down, I want to be proven wrong by saying these two are the best Helles's in the world. Because if there is one out there, it's going to blow my mind. It really is. Because it will have to be something very, very special. And there you go. And as always, remember, beer is working class champagne.